Hi, welcome to Live with Ms. Steph. Hi, I'm Stephanie E. Farmer, Executive Director of Triple F Empowerment, Inc., former laboratory scientist and former after-school director turned nonprofit founder and executive director. Folks, let's hop right into your weekly Science Club news. Today is March. Whew! Seems like every time I say the date, I'm just like, wow, how in the world? But kind of how time works. It really does keep going. Today is March 3rd, 2025, and welcome. So glad to be on with you today. So like I said, we are going to do our weekly Science Club news, and then we're going to explore the things that are in these bags. Yes, we of course are going to get your weekly news as well as our activity started. So let's go ahead and tag in a few people just to make sure that they know that we're here hanging out right now. Over the next several weeks, please be advised, not just several weeks, really like until summer camp. Please be advised that I will be available to answer your specific questions. So today, one of the things that I'll be discussing during the news portion, and remember, just keep in mind when I say news, I mean Science Club news. Your other news, I'm going to encourage you to get it from reliable sources. But yes, I'm not engaging in like the world news right now. There's plenty going on, and I don't think that that's a major use for my particular voice and my platform. The use for my platform is to let you know what's going on in the Science Club community and all the different things that we're doing, the ways that our program can support your young scientist, how you can get engaged, the things that you can attempt to be doing at home to enhance their educational experience, the things that you can be doing in school, how to contact me and what to contact me for as well. So I'm going to actually ask a question, like answer a question that you may be wondering, or a question that has not necessarily been asked, right? So I'm actually going to answer one question. Is a question that came to me through the registration process, because one of the things that I do have in the registration form, and I have had it there for several years now. I mean, I don't know that this is a normal thing that like people genuinely do, but I do it. For several years now, I have asked on the registration form, do you have any questions for Ms. Steph? Like I said, I can't say that I have seen that on other things, because our form, you know, you do your research and all that type of stuff. And the form is based off of some, like a previous registration form that another organization I was working with, several, actually not just one, but several organizations that I've worked with. You know, registration is part of the process, especially when it comes to summer camp. Summer camp and after school, we have to register the children. There's things that we need to ask, things that we need to know. Also, the forms, you may notice that, yes, you have to fill out a form every season, because we are required, as far as the organizations that run these programs, we're required to have up-to-date information, and we're actually required to be able to prove that when folks come in to do our the evaluations that are done by Department of Health, or DOE, depending on whatever agencies. Sometimes we're regulated by multiple agencies. Notice I'm hopping right in. But yeah, so this is a bit of an FYI in addition to your Science Club news. But yeah, so there's agencies that we're regulated by, and so we have to have, some of you may be wondering, so this is now actually a third question that I'm answering that may be coming up. So why do I have to fill out a form every year? Because I am mandated to prove that this is up-to-date information. Why do I have to submit a medical form every year? Same thing. I am mandated to prove that your child has had medical care. Now, you may have various feelings about it, but for me to legally have your child on premises when it comes to summer camp, and when I was running after school as well, former after school director with the permits and all that type of stuff. So there's a knowledge base that I have there. I'm speaking from expertise and not just speaking from stuff that I think. This is speaking from expertise, experience. Okay. And so that being said, we are mandated to prove that we have that information, and then that those forms are looked through. So for those of you kind of wondering, like, do I really have to give, even if you choose to send your child somewhere else? Granted, if they come with me, there's a lot of stuff that they will be experiencing. That's just fact. That's not even like me just, oh, come to my program because it's my program. I think it's like really good. No, like we have a proven track record, and there's data that's collected, and there's a way that I run program and all that type of stuff, again, that has been developed over the years through experience, therefore expertise in the area and what needs to happen during a summer program. That being said, do the regulatory agencies come and actually look at the kids' documentation to make sure that it's up to date? Yes. And do we get, does a negative thing occur if we do not have specific documentation? Yes. Okay. That's why your child's after school director or summer program is saying they need specific information, and they have to be able, because we have to prove it. They're going to come and they look every year when we get inspected. They look, period. That's not something that, like, say the director is making up or trying to make it difficult, because depending on your lived experience, you may feel, oh, they're just asking me stuff just to be like difficult. No, we're not. Hi. Thank you for watching Live with Ms. Steph. We're actually not doing that. We really genuinely are asking for documentation that we are mandated to have by law. There's actually a certain set of laws if you want to go look for those. They're in New York, they're publicly posted. And for those of us who learned how to operate and direct after school programming, thank you so much for watching Live with Ms. Steph, by the way, who learn how to operate after school programming. There's actually a set of New York State law that we are to learn as part of the like family law and all that type of stuff, and that we have to learn or be able to reference it. And so that's those are things that we are abiding by when we're asking for that documentation. So that's the answer to one of the questions that comes up during this time. Because if you didn't know, it is summer camp registration time, people. Okay, so that's the first answer. Why do I have to fill out a form every year, and why do I need to give you this? Because it's the law. And because the inspectors are going to ask. And if we do not have that for all of the children that are on premises, and they do come, like they count the kids and all that type of stuff, they do. And if we don't have that for all the children that are on premises, then there is an issue. Yes, staff are required to have certain things as well, and I have to have all their stuff, and there's stuff that I have to have for myself, and to be able to prove that we're abiding by that. Okay, so that's an answer to one. Thank you so much for watching Live with Ms. Steph. Shout out to Ufront Media. Hey. Other questions. So drop. Yes, you do know me, and I do know you. Drop any questions down, Roger, if you have any questions. I'm answering questions that are coming up during the Ms. Steph Science Club Summer Science Club registration period. Since we're registering children, things are coming up. Next question that I'm going to answer for you, publicly answer, question that I got, because again, I actually have, and it's a rare thing, I've not seen this in any of the other forms. I do have a section to where parents can ask questions of me. It's like an interview process. The interviewer, yes, should ask you a bunch of questions, but you should have your own questions as well, especially if this is a new situation to you. And so I open that up to families, returning families and new families. So one family asked me, concerning, this question is for you, and you know who you are, said, hey, so what's the differentiation or what's the adjustment to the curriculum for returning students or for students as they get older, right? So one of the things that is done on average, we are doing 10, okay, science projects a week. Yes, 10. Okay, and I am including the field trip because they do have to do a field trip lab report. They do a trip report for each field trip that we go on, and so I am including the field trip. Basically, the field trip kind of counts as 2 projects. And the field trips, I do field trips every Thursday. The trips are included in the tuition. Yes, we do have tuition. Yes, we are a nonprofit, a 501c3. And we still actually have to cover several expenses because depending on the size of the organization, some of the expenses may be like completely covered for them. Organizations like ours, actually families partner with donors because it costs us $700 per kid per week for a program, and none of our families are charged more than $425 per week for a program. Okay. So that being said, during our program, we've got 5 weeks. Each week has a theme. And so getting back to the conversation about like, how do we change things for kids that are returning? Hey, like basically, will my child be doing the same thing that they did last year or the year before? Especially if you have kids that come several years. No, we do not do the same thing every year. Now, we may have specific trips that we go on every year. We always hit Central Park at some point just because, like, it's fun for the kids. And Central Park in itself varies. It shifts. There's construction that happens. I may choose a different part of the park for us to go to, so on and so forth. So that is one way that we change things up each year. I make that adjustment. Also, there's certain trips that we go on that are classics. Another trip is Liberty Science Center. And Liberty Science Center in itself, that location does a turnover, right? So they change their main exhibit. Every year we go, their main exhibit is different. And we always go to the special exhibit there. So that's one of the ways that we integrate adjustments and make the experience fresh, but yet familiar, right? So there's certain projects that the kids, if I did not do them, the children would be upset. So like we always do slime, multiple kinds of slime. By the way, we always do oobleck, multiple kinds of oobleck. We always do art on Fridays, right? And another thing that I shared with that family, because again, it's a great question. Like, what is the point of my child returning other than just being with you and being with their friends, which may be a benefit, but maybe it's not a reasonable, a significant enough benefit to have my child say come all 5 weeks, right? Because that's another way that we are different from other programs. Your child is not mandated to come all 5 weeks. We don't do that. Okay. So all that being said, we change up the trips. Thank you so much for watching Live with Ms. Steph. I'm chit-chatting today, letting folks know some answers to some questions that I've been getting during the Summer Science Club registration process. And in particular, right now, I'm talking about what we keep the same and how we change things each year for our returning families and for our new families, right? Another adjustment that I do make is that on average, I integrate 2 to 3 new projects per week. So over the course of a summer, a child can easily end up having 10 to 15 different projects from the year before. Okay? So if you hear my math, right? We do an average of 10. Each trip essentially counts for 2 because of what's happening on the trip, as well as then doing the lab report when we get back and all that type of stuff. Hello, thank you so much for watching Live with Ms. Steph. We've got a lot of different people on today. Thank you ever so much, y'all. And so when we change your field trip, because that's another thing that we're doing this year, we are switching out the Bronx Zoo for another Living Thing field trip, which would be, we're going to actually be going to the New York Aquarium this year, which in itself has been remodeled. So each trip we go on, we do the special thing at that trip, and those places make changes in themselves. And then the other thing is that I choose several new projects a week to introduce the children to. And also another differentiation point is that some families don't come all the weeks. And so sometimes if a child is coming, say they change which themed week they attend. So for example, if a child is coming, typically comes T to M, and now they're coming S to A. And meaning, so science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, we spell out STEAM over the course of our time period. And so sometimes families will typically have their kids start at week 2 and go all the way through week 5, which ends up being a total of 4 weeks. Well, so if you decide to shift and be with us from week S to A, then yes, your child absolutely will be getting some differentiation just in the fact that you've changed up what weeks they attend. So do we make adjustments each year? Yes. And those are the adjustments that we make. Also, another thing that I offered that specific family and that I want to make public is that, especially for our returning families, if you have an idea and there's something that this is my planning time. Okay? I'll repeat, this is when I'm planning. So if you know your child is coming and you're like, it would be really cool if they could try this, let me know. Like, for example, I had a family, the child ended up not coming, but I did have a family register last summer, and it was communicated to me that, hey, my kid really likes astronomy. I'm going to be super clear about that. Likes astronomy and likes the planets and all that type of stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. So I actually integrated into the first week an astronomy study, and children got to choose one of the planets in the solar system. They made a model. Again, all of the activities incorporate the S, T, E, A, and M. Now, they may focus on one of those letters, but all the projects somehow incorporate all 5 letters. Okay? So when I say STEAM immersion experience, it is a full immersion experience. We do STEAM all day, every day. All the toys, STEAM all day, every day. Every time we go play, STEAM all day, every day. Thank you so much for watching live with Miss Steph. So appreciative of everybody joining us today. And so those are how we switch things up from year to year. So I answered, why do I need a form every year? And then I answered the question about, like, how are we switching things up? Third question, and this question came from a new family, and they were wondering, well, do you let parents, because people don't know this. You don't know what you don't know, right? And so that's why I make that question available. Do you have any questions for Miss Steph? Okay, before you register your child. And so this family asked about whether or not it is okay for parents to join, to chaperone field trips. Absolutely, because I do know that there are different requirements. Because I have enough staff and we're with the kids all the time and we're still the people who are doing chaperones and all that type of stuff. I am comfortable allowing parents to come because, again, my staff and I are still supervising the children. Okay. And so, yes, we form community. Remember, camp, classes, community, and consulting. So community is a major tenet of mine. And so, yes, there is a parent orientation that's going to happen at the end of June once we have all of our registration complete. And yes, parents are allowed to come on field trips. But your child has to be enrolled in program. I don't just let anyone join us. But if your kid's enrolled in program, yes, you can totally come on the field trips. And there are some additional things with that, but that's information that you'll get once we get closer to that. So yes, those are the 3 questions that I wanted to answer. If you have more questions, I'm answering questions via live these days, right? So if you have more questions about Summer Science Club 2025, which will take place July 7th through August 8th, 5 weeks Monday through Friday, STEAM immersion experience on 134th and 8th Avenue. The specific address will be provided to you once your child is registered. And we are at a public school in the area, and we really have a great time. For those of you wondering what city I'm in, if you're not aware of that, I actually am in New York City, and we run Ms. Steph Science Club in Harlem. Yes, yes, yes. Other things that you should know: Saturday Science Club is happening this weekend. It is the second Saturday of March 2025, and we will absolutely be having Saturday Science Club. I do want to let you know that there are a couple of regular items that we do typically have at Saturday Science Club that will not be there. So in particular, we will not have Hot Wheels this Saturday, but we will have absolutely something else that the children will have a great time with. We typically have anywhere from 7 different centers set up in the classroom, 7 to 10 activities that children can explore. The format, because we've got a lot of new people watching and coming on live and listening and finding out what's going on. I'm going to address the format, and then I'll go into our STEAM activity for today. The format is more of a play date or kind of a miniature science museum. So when your child comes in, you sign them in. You do have to sign your child in and out. You sign your child in on a paper, and then you use our QR code to sign out. Yes, we integrate technology in the entirety of the experience. And so, yes, you sign your kid in. They go forth. They choose one of the tables or desks that have our various materials on. And your child, you could come back and maybe your kid might still be at that same station because they enjoyed it that much. Or they may be in another part of the room. And so we do set up various stations. The children have a great time. It is for children ages 5 to 10. There is no fee. I repeat, there's no fee for participants, and the funding for Saturday Science Club comes through our donors. Our donors, we garner funds. On average, it costs us $38 per child per week to provide this very engaging STEAM immersion experience. Saturday Science Club is from 12 to 2 p.m., first, second, and third Saturdays. Again, as I mentioned, this coming Saturday is March 8th. We do have program from 12 to 2 p.m. at Wadley, which is located at 215 West 114th Street. And again, it is free of charge for participants. And for those of you wondering how we get our funding, I just discussed that. And so through nonprofit donations and grant monies, actually. And yeah, ages 5 to 10, you're most welcome. Saturday Science Club is actually a very great way to get involved. If you are considering sending your child, you're one of the new families to our community, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming. I strongly suggest that you stop by one of our Saturday Science adventures. One is free of charge, so it's not something that like I'm not charging you to come. We're not charging you to come like try out, right? And so it's actually a great way to kind of find out what your child might experience during the summer, because Saturday Science Club is an abbreviated version of the summer day camp experience. Okay, so yeah. I thank you so much for watching Live with Ms. Steph. Let's hop right into this, the STEAM activity. It's that time of year, right? We're coming into the spring. Has spring sprung just yet? Not quite just yet. That being said, I do like to plan. I put a post up a couple of days ago. Actually, maybe not a couple of days ago. Yesterday, I want to say. I shared, you all know that I do kind of a 3-step process. It's set intention, then I plan things, and then we execute. The execute step includes going and teaching, collecting the data, and then the reflection, okay? And one of the things that I find super important, and that one of my big tips to doing STEAM, some folks are like, how do you do it, Miss Steph? I test out everything before I do the activity with the students. All right. It's super important that you make sure your materials are going to perform. And in particular, today, we're going to be talking about seeds. One of the things that I have learned, when you're doing a plant unit, and actually I shared this with one of the traveling science teacher partners. Y'all know I have twos on Monday mornings. And one of the things I was sharing with one of the teachers there, she's like, I like doing plants with the kids, but I always start them too late, or sometimes things happen too early, all that type of stuff. And I was sharing with her, one of the things that I've learned is that the timing is important. So if you buy some seeds, right, especially if you buy them in these packets, some of you may have seen these packets before, depending on how far or how intense of an investigation you're planning on doing with students, maybe you just want to just do some germination, or I love doing seed dissection. I'll do seed dissection tomorrow with my student, this week with some of my third and fourth graders. I love doing a seed dissection with them, but that requires planning on your part. Do not buy seeds that day and then try to run and go do a seed dissection with your students. It's not going to work, and we're going to talk. I'll show you why in just a second. But like I said, you buy your seeds, buy them fresh every season, unless that's part of the experiment. Unless you're going to buy fresh and compare them to how the old seeds perform. That's something you can do with your upper elementary all the way up through high school, really comparing like water levels and intensity and all that type of stuff. You can do that. But if you're just trying to do something very straightforward as far as we want to grow plants with your pre-K all the way up to your middle to upper elementary students, you must buy fresh seeds every year. Period. You cannot get around that. I strongly suggest, that's one of my major tips. Okay. Another tip is to take a peek at the back of this. If you're trying to grow these plants all the way to adult plant, if you're just trying to do a little germination, I kid you not, there's a lot of stuff you can kind of get away with. But if you want to grow these puppies all the way to adult plant, you must look at the back, find out the temperature that they need to be kept at, find out how much water they can tolerate, find out the type of soil they like to grow in. Now, again, if you want to do some experimentation, you can do that. But for the littles, and we're saying, hey, we want to just introduce them to growing plants and doing some germination, you really want to make sure that you've got the optimal conditions set. Plants are particular. You cannot just grow them any kind of where, any kind of how. They don't work that way. That's why you have this information on the back. Okay, so for example, when to sow 4 to 6 weeks before your average last frost date. Sowing as in if you're going to put these outside in the garden. Okay, when soil temperature is at least 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, for folks in New York City right now, is it at least 40 degrees Fahrenheit outside? No. Okay. Am I still doing these activities? Yes. But with that information in mind, and that's just one thing that I read you. There's all kinds of other stuff on the back. Other tips. If you're looking for something super easy that like time of year doesn't matter as much because the seeds know what time of year it is based on the temperature and the environment. They grow in certain environments better than others. Period. That's a scientific fact. That's not some like, oh, what I think. No, it's scientific fact. Wheatgrass. And again, yes, I order fresh wheatgrass every year. This is a brand that I found. This one seems to work, blah, blah, blah. This is not sponsored. And no, I'm not telling you that you have to go get these. Absolutely not. I just know that this one is the one that I got to work. I don't have any issues with it. They always sprout. Boom. Okay? And they grow pretty fast. If you want to look up a time lapse, that's another tip. If you're having issues with timing, you're like, okay, these plants are going to take forever. So, because for example, these puppies, days to emerge on these, to come up from the soil, for the kids to see anything, is anywhere between 5 to 10 days. I don't know how patient your students are, but my pre-K students aren't that patient. 5 to 10 days is a really long time for something, especially me. I travel in and out of classrooms, for something to sit in a classroom. Also, I start stuff early. So these, you see, on the 1st, today's the 3rd, I started soaking them several days ago so that I could see, to test, to see if they were going to work. And to also try some of the things that I want to try with the kids. So, New Yorkers love coffee, and there's a lot of coffee conversation in New York City. And there's different things that you can look up. And so planting the seeds in coffee is one of the things that I will be doing with the students this week. Or rather, really more like next week. We're going to do, like I said, we're going to do the wheatgrass germination with my pre-K students. And I'll be doing a seed exploration and investigation, dissection, with the elementary school students. All right, so let's grab this real quick. These have been soaking. Okay, I want you to see the similarity and the difference between the wheatgrass seeds. And yes, you may be like, well, this is not a very intense project. I mean, that's you. That may be how you feel. But I'm telling you now, I have done this for years, and the children love it. They learn a great deal from getting to see the difference between the soaked seeds and the dry seeds. You see? This is the dry, and this is the wet. This is not just wet, soaked. When you soak the seeds, that's another thing, like seeds do best, like the bean or if you're trying to get them to grow a bit faster and emerge faster, soak them. Okay? Then if you can kind of see the white piece that is starting to come up, that's the root. Roots are the thing that grow first. You see all this content that you're able to teach just simply by soaking some seeds. Okay? And then I'm showing you the dry. That's the dry one, the dry seeds. You can ask the children what differences. You see how planning and setting your intention is so key. Yeah, sure, it's key to do some shaving cream and baking soda. The stuff we did last month. Shaving cream, baking soda, whatever, just like sourcing your materials and all that kind of stuff. Remember last month, a bunch of the February stuff, I drove home the point of, hey, you can go grab this from the store and go run over there and do the activity today. For those who, for my after school folks and all that type of stuff who just like need something. Maybe your STEM instructor didn't show up today. This is not the activity to do on those days. Okay? Because one, you want to soak your seeds. You want to make sure that they will start to, that they're going to sprout. To be able to do that, you need to put some in some water and see if you start to see that little white piece come out of it, which is the beginning of the root. Roots are the things that grow first. All right. So this is the wheatgrass. Again, these are the dry, unsoaked seeds. These are the soaked seeds, and they've been soaked for a couple of days, and they already are at least twice the size. Okay. Now, let's do a quick look at the pea shoot. I want to see if I can get one that's kind of already started to split. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That is a soaked pea shoot. I'm going to grab dry so that you can see the difference. Thank you so much for watching live with Ms. Steph. We're on here. Go back and watch. For those of you watching this on the replay, thank you. But for those of you who are like just coming in and you're watching live, but you're like, I want to find out what, hear me answer the questions, go back and watch the replay so you can get answers to all the questions about Summer Science Club 2025. I don't want to tell you what to do, but I'm just telling you, if you really need your child to be in a smaller environment, to be able to kind of fill in some of the gaps, if you feel like there's been some gaps in their science education, especially for your early elementary school child, it's the place to be. All right, we set our kids up right. Okay, so these are the seeds from this packet. Okay, the other ones I just showed you were wheatgrass. These seeds look like this. This is what they look. This is what it looks like dry. And this is what it looks like after having soaked since March 1st. Do you see the difference? Right? The size difference. This seed is starting to, the root is starting to grow. That skin, the outer layer has started to crack. And so you would be able to verify those are the ones that you would want to put in the soil if you're going to do that. Or some cotton balls. Okay, this is what I've done. So I have two sides. I have my side that's got the wheatgrass. You see how my wheatgrass seeds are not only sprouting, but they really, are looking like they're growing. Okay, those are my wheatgrass seeds. Now, mind you, I just put these in yesterday. So I took them from the seeds that were in the water for a day. And then last night, do you remember how me saying, hey, wheatgrass is really almost no fail? Almost. Not entirely, but almost. Okay. And it's really, really good for the younger children. Okay, so that's the wheatgrass that's starting to germinate. Or, see, that is what it looks like. That seed there. Okay. That's one of these seeds, pea shoots. Okay. So let's wrap up. What can you do when you're trying to say, I want to do a plant unit? 1, start 2 to 3 weeks in advance. Choose the seeds. That's the big thing. Choose the type of plant that you want to have your students learn about. Order them. Go buy them for wherever. This is a great opportunity, great time to support, say, a small business like the these are definitely a thing that's a bit easier to get, quote unquote, on the ground. Like they don't need to be ordered from some special store. Go grab, whatever your local place is to get seeds from. That's going to be the most financially responsible way to source them. Like ordering them online actually costs more. This is one of the things that it's cheaper to just buy it in the store. And that's what I do. Like I keep my eye out for different seeds and I make decision, like I said, intention, plan, right? So you got to choose what kind of seeds you want first. Then plan. What variations do I want to do with my students? Me, y'all know that I am working through Ms. Steph Science Club's Traveling Science Teacher Initiative. It's an average of 200 children a week. And from ages 2 all the way up to upper elementary to 5th grade. And my 5th graders I'm prepping for, in collaboration with the science instructors at their schools, we are prepping them for the New York State elementary school science exam. Okay, so that being said, I have a very broad window. And so I'm doing more than your typical instructor would be doing, right? And so this is the activity that we did with my littles today, whereas I'm testing my coffee samples to see how those go, so that I have an idea at least of how these particular seeds will perform when I introduce that activity next week. I started these yesterday, but next Wednesday and Friday, not this coming, but next Wednesday and Friday, then I will have them design and make choices on which seeds they want to try, which medium, if they want to try the sponge only, because these just have a sponge. You see how those are performing. They've got a little sponge in there. How often do they need to be watered? All those types of things are questions that can be asked through an elementary school's and in elementary schoolers' mind, like scientifically thinking what questions might they have. Can something grow in coffee grounds? Do you need to do they need to be spent coffee grounds, meaning water has already gone through it to pull out some of the caffeine? Okay, that you can really do with your older students, your high school students. Or does organic matter? Do you want to do like 5 or 6 variations, meaning like 100% coffee ground, and then go down in percentage and go all the way to 100% soil, right? You see how you could do like 5 different variations, right? But only changing the soil versus coffee ground composition, right? If you're doing a variable, you can't change too many things. You need to change one thing at a time, or else it is not an actual controlled experiment. And that's why I mentioned your middle schooler up to high schooler, because doing a controlled experiment is more appropriate for that age group, especially when you're doing something that intense. Unless your kid is like very has had the exposure, say maybe has come to summer science club, right? And I say that jokingly, but I mean, our children, because summer science club provides a 1.5 years worth of science, you can imagine that they come out with being able to do some more intense things, and we would send them, we send them off and encourage their families to send them to other programs, because we're doing the foundational work here. They've had those experiences and they can either move on or now come help us with the next cohorts. Okay. So here's another variation. I did coffee, right? So I've got 4 different things I've got going on. Okay. This I wouldn't include in this set, but anywho, I'm just giving you different examples of different things that you can try, and you make the reasonable, as the instructor, using scientific principles and procedures, you decide what you want to do with your students. Okay? So we could either do the sponge, where the sponge has been soaked and the sponge hasn't been soaked. The seeds have been soaked, the seeds haven't been soaked. That we've done before. And you do get the results are different between soaked and unsoaked. That makes a massive difference. Okay? Then over here, and you see I do have the sponge there, just for, there's various reasons I have that. We've got, like I showed you before, cotton ball. And I do have 2 types of seeds in here, which I would not necessarily suggest for your students, because you want them to be able to see the impact. But this is for me, I'm doing my testing. Okay. And then we have the 100% coffee. That's all coffee. And I didn't rinse the coffee. So we'll see whether or not those are able to sprout without the coffee having been spent and some of the caffeine pulled out of it, because that does impact growth. All right. And then in here, the beans are, the seeds are there. The wheatgrass seeds are there. You can see. Okay. I have it with a cotton ball and then with some coffee grounds around it. Right. So there's different things that you can try. Point is, soak your seeds first. Way before you need to teach the lesson. Run it before you need to teach your lesson. And make sure you have fresh seeds. Unless that is part of the experiment and you're going to order fresh and have the children observe how the old seeds behave. Okay? But absolutely you want fresh because you want the highest possibility of success, right? You don't want children to plant seeds and then be looking and nothing happen. Highly disappointing. That's usually one of the things that goes wrong when educators are attempting to do plants when nothing grows. That's the thing that is the only thing that tends to be disappointing for the children, when they're like, but nothing happened. Which is also another reason why I, as a science instructor, do a tester, so that even if nothing happens in the plants that I've left at the school for whatever reason, I still can show them some grass or the starting of a bean plant, all that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's been fun. It's been real. Today it's been a little bit longer because I wanted to make sure that I was answering several possible questions about Summer Science Club 2025. Yes, we are in planning mode. Yes, registration. Hi. Thank you for watching live with Ms. Steph. Getting ready to sign out. But yes, registration is open now for Summer Science Club 2025. We are going to be on 134th Street and 8th Avenue in that block there, where we have been for the last 2 years. This will be our third summer in that particular location. Registration can be found, can be accessed by reaching out to me. I will get the form to you, or if you're if you're in our parent listserv, I've already sent that out, registration information out to parents to be able to sign their child up. Yes, spots are limited because we do boutique style. The children get to develop a close-knit community. This is a really good experience for children who need both art and science exposure. It's a really good experience if you want your child to be on a safe yet engaging field trip every week. Things that we don't do. We're not a sports heavy program. We're not. They do get to play every day, yes, totally. Unless there's a heat advisory or whatever, we go outside every day to go play and hang out in the park, run around, walk around. I do believe in fine motor and gross motor play. We do have 2 hours of play daily incorporated into the schedule. It's planned out. Parents, you get a schedule. I give you a general schedule at the beginning of camp, and then weekly you get a detailed list of the science investigations that we're doing. I inform you of where we're going on our field trip, the time of day we'll be at each field trip, because some field trips we do it just kind of in the middle of the day for a couple of hours, and then, for example, Liberty Science Center, you drop your kid off at 8:30, we're on the bus at 9, and then we go and we're gone the entire day, right? But I make that very clear for all the families. We provide everything except a lunch. So we do ask you to pack a lunch, send them with a lunch, because we are providing everything else, all the STEAM materials, from paint to paintbrushes to their little lab coat that they get and the goggles, all that stuff we provide. We do ask that you send them with the lunch. And because our kids, just for various reasons, the type of child that we end up having is a kid that likes to have very, very specific lunch. And so that's one of the things that we have found that we just, it's best for us not to provide that. And other things, it's a great time. It's a great time. I encourage you, like I said earlier in the live, join us for a Saturday Science Club. If you're wondering kind of what your child might experience, a Saturday Science Club is a really good way to kind of gauge, and also to come meet me and kind of, say, hey, let me meet this lady. I am totally fine with that. I respect that. highly. And so, yeah, we're super excited about Summer Science Club 2025. Registration is open and has gone public for ages 5 to 10. And you do that by reaching out and saying, hey, Miss Steph, I want a registration form. And I will email the link to the Google form to you. It is a Google form that you will fill out. That's pretty much it for today. Thank you for watching Live with Miss Steph, and have an absolutely wonderful day.